Joining us now, investigative reporter and Fox News contributor Sara Carter and gubernatorial candidate Congressman Ron DeSantis of Florida. We welcome both of you to the show. Let's start, Sara, with your report about the slow walking. This is now in the hands of the likes of Rod Rosenstein, the guy who we know has been at the heart of obstructing Congress's investigation, and it appears he's trying to influence and get the Inspector General to change his report, slow walk his report, and even influence the timing of the report to bury it, if you will, especially in light of the news that's coming next week.
Well, and it's not surprising because we've seen Rod Rosenstein do this before. I mean, this is what he's doing to the House Intelligence Committee, to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Every time any of the committees makes a request for documentation or tries to get to the truth, Sean, they put up a big blockade, they slow roll, they claim national security risks. Then they have meetings, and at those meetings, nothing is ever divulged. No information is handed over. And then what they do is they slowly start giving information, trying to elongate as much time as possible between them and the information and the people that are that are requesting it. And now what we're seeing is that this is happening to Horowitz, and that you're right. Rod Rosenstein, others within the DOJ are reviewing this document, the 400-page plus report over a year of investigation into what happened between the FBI and their handling of the Hillary Clinton server. And now we're also seeing that the FBI itself, and we know Christopher Wray, is also working alongside Rod Rosenstein as well to ensure that this takes as much time as possible, or like you have said, it's dumped on a Friday. And then it disappears right before the summit. So this is very concerning to a lot of people. There's a lot of lawmakers out there that are hoping that Horowitz does not cave in to the DOJ or to the FBI or the other people that are involved in this, like James Comey, Loretta Lynch. Remember, they all have a right to review this report and then add their own amendments to it and make their own arguments. So it is naturally going to take some time from the time the report is actually finalized for them to do this. So it's not surprising that it's taken more time than the last few weeks. What is surprising is how they will handle it or how much longer it's going to take.
Yeah, Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Ron DeSantis, look, the bottom line is now we're at the point where we all have to be concerned because we really do have the Department of Justice investigating itself. I know that Michael Horowitz is supposed to be independent, but I'm also told that somebody like Rod Rosenstein can tell him when to release this thing. Is that true?
Yeah, no, Sean, I think there's a whole host of reasons to be concerned. I mean, go back to some of the montage you were playing with Devin Nunes. We've been asking for these documents since last summer. And they basically stonewalled every step of the way. We got to pull teeth. We'll get some trickled out. The ones that they do give, a lot of times they'll have redactions. We go back. It turns out the redactions really aren't designed to protect national security. They're just designed to protect the bureaucracy. So that is not something that we can tolerate. But I think it's been a consistent pattern with the Justice Department to not give the American people the truth and to issue, even if they are doing it with redactions. So I'm concerned about the timing of this, but I'm also concerned, are they going to only agree to release this report if it's heavily redacted? And that's not going to be acceptable.
Well, I think, or what if they dump it this Thursday or Friday, going into a weekend leading up to a summit, a historic summit between Kim Jong-un and President Trump?
That would be a great way to bury the story. But, you know, Sean, at the end of the day, Congress has the ability to put this front and center. And as you've seen for a while now, you have a handful of us who are really trying to get the American people the answers. You do have some folks who, even on the Republican side, you know, they think, hey, you know, there's nothing to see here. Let's just move along. And so that's the type of attitude, you know, that's not going to be effective. If we effectively prosecute the case based on the report, educate the American people, I think Sessions will have no choice but to follow through on any criminal referrals.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at what we're hearing as it relates to James Comey, that the report would accuse him of insubordination. The problem I'm having with what, the slow leaking that's coming out with this, Sara Carter, is that We know Hillary violated the Espionage Act. We know she lied about having top secret classified special access programming information on the hard drives in the mom and pop bathroom closet. And we also know she deleted the emails that were subpoenaed, and she acid washed the hard drives, and she had her devices busted up. And then we also know an exoneration was written before an investigation. Now, I'm not even talking about the FISA abuse or the dossier issue, which is another Hillary-involved issue, but you know, that's what this report's supposed to be about. The facts should not even be in dispute here. The question is, are the people responsible going to be held accountable? That's the issue.
It's a huge issue, and this is why, Congressman DeSantis is so right on the money when he talks about how they've had to fight tooth and nail over these delay tactics. It appears, and it's very obvious, it doesn't just appear, it's very obvious that the FBI, the Bureau, as well as the Department of Justice, as well as the past administration, those senior officials that were involved in this, are doing everything they can to bury what is malfeasance and what was actually possibly criminal behavior on the part of some of the people that were involved in this, covering up for Hillary Clinton. I mean, she did what she did using that server, but it was up to the Department of Justice, it was up to the FBI to ensure that there was a fair investigation, that the scales were balanced, and that people were conducting themselves in a manner which it was equal among all people. Had you or I done this, Sean, had we had a subpoena for emails or documentation and we destroyed it, we'd be in jail. And I think the American public is very well aware of what's been going on here, and that's why we've seen a shift in what the public has viewed and what the public is now seeing as a serious problem within our intelligence apparatus. And you're right, we haven't even talked about the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrants that were taken out on Carter Page, the possibility that an extended group of people were being monitored that were within the Trump campaign, the fact that there's Spygate. I mean, these are all parts of this massive investigation that's been thrown into the hands of Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who is basically kind of floating on his own along with the House Intelligence Committee, the oversight committees, the judiciary, on the Senate side, and they really are up against a massive machine that does not want to expose what has been going on, I believe, for some time within the system. And it is exposing a breakdown in the system, and they want to bury that.
All right. I mean, I guess at this point, why doesn't the Republicans in Congress now that they have just basically thumbed their nose at your constitutional authority of oversight, why isn't every Republican, I know 18 of them signed, but 18 isn't enough. They need every Republican to demand that the documents that Congress has subpoenaed be handed over and be handed over immediately. How do they get away with this constant slow walking, lying about national security as they redact away only to be proven to be liars, and slow walking the whole process in the hopes that, well, maybe we can get to November of 2018 and Nancy Pelosi wins and this all goes away?
Well, the reason why they're able to get away with it is because Congress has let them get away with it. And Sean, it's great to have, 15, 20 of us pushing, and that's made a difference. But ultimately, you need to be willing to enforce Congress's prerogatives by holding people in contempt of Congress, by using the power of the purse, or if it comes to that and you have an official who's just recalcitrant, using the impeachment power against people who are civil officers. And I have not seen the willingness of the entire body to be willing to do that. I can tell you, though, if we actually did it, we would get the documents very shortly. I think they know they can get away with this, and so that's why they string us along, and we always do this song and dance.
All right, we'll take a quick break, continue more with Sara Carter, and gubernatorial candidate from Florida. This is an important race down in Florida coming up in November, and that's Ron DeSantis, currently a Freedom Caucus member. All right, as we continue, we have Sara Carter, investigative reporter, also gubernatorial candidate from the great state of Florida. We have our friend Ron DeSantis. What are we to make, Sara Carter, about McCabe? It looks like McCabe wanting immunity means he wants to flip, and the person I think is most likely to flip on first is going to be James Comey. But now we're also finding out today that Peter Strzok played a much bigger role in all of this, and we knew he played a big role, but even bigger than we originally thought.
Well, to start with, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, I mean, it appears that he is in a ton of hot water right now, Sean. He is, right now being asked to provide testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee. His attorney, Bromwich, has asked for immunity for him to provide that testimony, which is so strange in and of itself to see somebody from such a high level. I mean, we know he has a criminal referral on him basically for lying to the FBI multiple times during his interviews about whether or not he leaked information or authorized the leaking of information to the Wall Street Journal. If he does not receive immunity from the Senate Judiciary Committee, he will invoke his Fifth Amendment right not to speak. That's also going to be very interesting. But if he does receive this immunity from the Senate committee, and I don't know, it's going to be a difficult process to get that through, he could easily turn right on Comey. And I know this talking from sources. He has threatened in the past that he would not be the only one to go down with a sinking ship, and that he is the person that would have the information. Look, he was the same person that Peter Strzok was reporting to. They knew each other very closely. He did not recuse himself from the investigation when many people thought he was recused from the Hillary Clinton investigation. Remember, he was involved with the $700,000 that went from the governor of Virginia to Terry McAuliffe, to his wife's campaign, her unsuccessful run for state senate here in 2015, which was connected to the Bill and Hillary Clinton, to super PACs, and of course, Terry McAuliffe is very close friends with the Clintons. So there is a lot on McCabe's plate. Remember, there's still internal inquiries into that behavior within the FBI. I mean, they have not resulted yet in any deliberations. They've been investigating him for not reporting his finances. So there's a lot of things here at play, and there's a lot that McCabe could be discussing.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. And, Congressman, hopefully soon to be Governor, Ron DeSantis, thank you for being with us. We need these documents, Congressman. Got to keep fighting. Thanks for being with us.
We're working.